city lights flickered as I walked home from another late shift. Rain drizzled down, creating a rhythmic patter on the sidewalk. I quickened my pace, eager to escape the chill that had settled into my bones. The streets were eerily empty, the usual hum of traffic replaced by an unsettling silence. I glanced around, feeling a strange sense of unease. That's when I saw it, an old cathedral, its towering spires piercing the night sky. It was a relic, out of place amid the modern buildings. I'd passed it countless times, but tonight, something drew me in. An inexplicable pull, like a whisper I couldn't quite hear. The massive wooden doors creaked open as I pushed against them, revealing a dimly lit interior. Candles flickered in the corners, casting eerie shadows that danced on the stone walls. The air was thick with the scent of old incense, a blend of frankincense and myrrh that made my head spin. I stepped inside, the heavy doors closing behind me with a resonant thud. The sound echoed through the vast empty space, sending shivers down my spine. I called out, "Hello?" But my voice was swallowed by the cathedral's cavernous silence. I should have left, but curiosity, or maybe something more sinister, compelled me forward. My footsteps echoed ominously as I approached the center of the cathedral. There on the altar lay an ancient book, its leather cover cracked and worn. Symbols I couldn't decipher adorned its surface, glowing faintly in the dim light. As I reached for the book, a sudden chill swept through the air. The candle's flames flickered wildly, casting grotesque shadows that seemed to mock my presence. I hesitated, a sense of foreboding settling in my gut. But the pull was too strong. I couldn't turn back now. The book was surprisingly cold to the touch. I opened it, the pages yellowed with age, and began to read. The words seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, drawing me deeper into their sinister embrace. My head began to throb, a dull ache that intensified with each passing second. Suddenly, the ground beneath me shook. I stumbled, clutching the book to my chest. From the darkness, a figure emerged. Cloaked in shadows, it seemed to glide rather than walk. I tried to make out its features, but the dim light obscured everything except for its piercing, glowing eyes. "Who are you?" I managed to croak, my voice barely more than a whisper. The figure's gaze bore into mine, and I felt an icy grip around my heart.
"I am a guardian,"
it intoned, voice reverberating through the cavernous space.
"Once a protector of light, now an enforcer of divine wrath."
Panic surged through me, but my legs refused to move. The figure's wings, 6 in total, unfurled behind it, tattered and blackened. It exuded a malevolence that made my skin crawl. I wanted to run, but I was rooted to the spot, trapped by its unyielding gaze.
"Humanity has strayed too far from the path,"
it continued, wings stretching out to their full, terrifying span.
"I am here to cleanse the world of its sins."
With a swift motion, it raised a hand, and I felt an invisible force lift me off the ground. My breath caught in my throat as I struggled against the unseen bonds. The candle's flames flickered violently, casting long, twisted shadows that seemed to close in on me.
"You will be the first,"
the figure declared, eyes glowing brighter.
"A warning to others."
A searing pain shot through me, and I screamed. My vision blurred as darkness encroached, the last thing I saw being the figure's cold, merciless gaze. When I awoke, I was lying on the cold stone floor, the cathedral eerily silent. The figure was gone, but its presence lingered like a dark stain on my soul. I stumbled to my feet and fled into the night, the city's lights no longer a comfort, but a reminder of the lurking darkness. As I ran, the rain poured down harder, drenching me to the bone. I glanced back at the cathedral, its spires disappearing into the stormy sky. I knew then that the world had changed, and I, a mere mortal, had glimpsed the unfathomable wrath of a fallen guardian. Days passed, but the memory of that night haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the sensation of unseen eyes following my every move. Strange occurrences plagued my daily life. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed in the dead of night, and shadows seemed to writhe and stretch towards me. I confided in friends and family, but they dismissed my fears as paranoia. Only one person believed me, an old professor with a penchant for the occult. He listened intently as I recounted my experience, his expression growing graver with each word.
You encountered something ancient and powerful,
He said, his voice low.
a being that transcends our understanding of good and evil. It was once a protector, but something corrupted it, turning it into a harbinger of doom.
I shuddered, remembering the figure's chilling eyes. What can I do? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. The professor sighed, rubbing his temples.
There are rituals, ancient rites that might placate such a being, but they are dangerous and require great sacrifice.
Fear gnawed at me, but I knew I had no choice. The darkness that had invaded my life was relentless, and I couldn't continue living in its shadow. The professor gave me a list of items to gather and instructed me on the ritual. The night of the ritual, I returned to the cathedral. The city seemed to hold its breath as I approached, the rain now a torrential downpour. I pushed open the doors and stepped inside, the familiar scent of incense greeting me. The altar stood as it had before, the ancient book still open. I laid out the items as instructed: a silver dagger, a vial of my own blood, and a handful of sacred herbs. My hands trembled as I chanted the incantation, the words foreign and heavy on my tongue. The candles flickered, and a cold wind swept through the cathedral. The figure emerged once more, its eyes burning with a terrifying intensity. It watched silently as I completed the ritual, a grim smile playing on its lips.
You think you can banish me?
It hissed, voice dripping with malice.
You are but a mere mortal.
I swallowed hard, determination flaring within me. I will not be your pawn, I declared, raising the silver dagger. With a swift motion, I plunged the dagger into the altar, the blade slicing through the ancient book. A blinding light erupted from the pages, and the figure let out an ear-piercing scream. The force of the explosion knocked me off my feet, and I hit the ground hard. When the light faded, the cathedral was silent once more. The figure was gone, its presence eradicated. I lay there, breathing heavily, the weight of what I had done settling over me. I left the cathedral, the rain washing away the blood and grime. The city light seemed warmer, less foreboding. I knew that the darkness had not been vanquished completely, but for now it was held at bay. As I walked home, I felt a strange sense of peace. The memory of the figure's eyes still haunted me, but I had faced the darkness and survived. I had confronted the unfathomable and lived to tell the tale. And so, I became a guardian of my own, watching for signs of the lurking evil, ready to stand against it. The world remained a place of shadows and light, and I was determined to protect it, no matter the cost.